All right, Veronica. So I'm going to kind of break down this video for you, and I want you to kind of follow these steps at home. So here we are working on the doorway, and this is going to be really helpful if you have people coming in and out. It's an impulse control thing with the door. He did really great with this. So you can see where he kind of is a little rusty is when someone walks in and out of the door. There's uncertainty. So what we want to do is establish with him, if you remain there, don't worry, I will come back or you will get rewarded. So you could see I exit, he gets up. I kind of use my body language to just kind of place him back to where he was or away from the door. And you can see like his little stress cues during this. He's trying to figure out what's going on. That's that licking at the paw. It's the yawning. So there was a full cycle where I exited the door, he remained there, and I came back, so I rewarded him, okay? And I gave him lots of calm pets because I did see he was a little stressed trying to figure this one out. And then he gets a little water break. And for most dogs, the doorway is hard. He did pretty exceptional at this, but there were those little moments where he kind of got up. So what I want you to practice is, again, step one, ask him to sit. Once he is sitting, ask him to wait, all right? And when he is waiting, the bottom should stay in that one spot. And then exit the door and enter. And I would use a door that is not your front door. Use like your bathroom door, your bedroom door. Just use that threshold so you can practice the motor skills. Here in this exercise, I am not blocking the doorway. So he has the option of going in and out, all right? And this is where rewards are going to be really, really important. The dog needs a motive because outside is pretty exciting, all right? So here you can see the added level of difficulty is the door was closed and then I opened it, all right? He had first tried to go out in that one moment, and there's a little bit of him doing those little stress licks. It's really funny how he does that. But when he did kind of use his nose to move forward, I closed the door pretty fast, and then I gave him another opportunity. In the second one, he looked at me, and then he came over to me, so I rewarded it. So here is where we started a little bit of the come when I call you. And what I observed in this moment is probably what you'll see a lot of going into the real world and new situations for him. Obviously, he had been in the lobby before, but it is still new enough to him where he needed to kind of explore it and take it in. And this is a part of him that I want you to be very patient with as he grows and matures. His socialization period, he was kind of, he got sick and there was a lot of things. He needs to explore his environment and just get comfortable with it a little bit, and make sure nothing super scary is going to go on. So what I started to do then is once he had a full sniff of the area, I kind of started to work him in that area. So once you have a little bit of comfort for him, then I started to ask him to come to me, all right? And you'll see he was, like you had noticed, a little slower at this. He's very preoccupied with the environment. He wants to sniff everything. But after just a few minutes of sniffing, we want to kind of push him to start working for us. So what I'm doing here is asking him to target my hand. And that's going to be something I implement a lot. He didn't want to touch it right away. He did sit for me, but the hand target is really beneficial to bring the dog all the way to you if he does ever get away from you. So I'll go over that homework a little more in depth in our next session. What I want you to do for come when I call you right now, because I know you're not doing a whole lot of exploring the world, is have your leash, have some cookies that are extra special for him. I want you to choose a word that is either like here or come. And if he comes to you, see if he will touch your hand and then reward him with that special reward. Very basic, but it'll go a long way for you. And we'll step it up in the next session. So here is where I started to work on him with jumping. So you can see I got him really excited. Once he had his paws up on me, I asked him very clearly and just so he was able to understand what I was saying, I asked him off. And he sat for me, he got rewarded. Again, I got him excited and I did something here where I hid behind the podium and I started running around. So that way when I came around the corner, I pretty much knew he would jump, and there it is. As I knew he was going to jump, I said off. And if you saw, his paws went up and hit me for about a second. But that is something I want you to practice, is anticipating when he is about to jump. Give him that cue off and just freeze like you've been doing, okay? And I know you've been working at it a little bit, but I want you to kind of start using a reward when he does do pause off and make it a practice. So here I gave him a little break. He was getting kind of frazzled, so we just did some petting. And then the next segment is a little bit of walking. So with his walking, the leash is kind of foreign to him because I know he doesn't use it as much. What I want you to do is put his leash on him at home and just walk around with him on the leash right now. The other thing I want you to be very mindful of when it comes to the leash is when you put it on him, does he start going towards the door? What does his behavior start to change to? So here I had already done some walking practice with him earlier, but my phone wasn't recording, unfortunately. What I start to do with the leash is I kind of ignore him and I let the leash do the talking, all right? When I lose his focus, I give him that little bit of pressure. Someone had walked into the room, all right? And it's very minimal, all right? And that pressure to him is a signal of you've gone too far, okay? I want you to kind of get a feeling for this. And for Whiskey, sometimes he hangs out in that pressure for a moment longer. He does like to investigate things pretty thoroughly. If he were to stay hanging out on the end of that leash, I would take a big step back with that pressure applied. And here he started to follow me pretty good. So I dropped the leash. Because with this practice, I don't want the leash to be a source of like reliability. I want it to be insurance for you guys. So though he was looking at something in the environment, and I think the person is still in the room that he was looking at, like there you could see him checking him out. Anytime he does start to follow with me, I will tell him good, yes. Here I try to get him to target the hand again. He approaches but doesn't come all the way to the hand. That's okay. But when you start to get in the habit of using the leash pressure, once he is coasting with you and you find you do not need to give those reminders and he is simply just following you, then you can drop the leash like that. And again, practice in the house. So there you could see he kind of hung out at the end of the leash. I gave him a little bit of pressure. Then the tension was released again. Like right here, again, a little bit of pressure. He's concerned with the person in the room. Yes. The key here is also rewards. At first, you will be using a lot of rewards, okay? And Whiskey's a little picky, so find something that he does like. Anytime you say yes or he starts to follow through, reward it right now. We are building his habits and we want to motivate those good habits to follow us. So at the end of every training session, I do like to do something fun. Here we played ball and I took him to a different environment that he's typically in because I wanted to utilize that moment to kind of do some socialization. And this is something you can do if you do take him to like the park or you take him, somewhere that's a little more safe for you, because I know the neighborhood you guys live in is not the best. Do a little bit of training. See how he does in the new environment. Do some work with him and then play something fun. So this session went really great. Obviously, there's things that he does need to work on and develop a little bit more. But I want you to work on these things at least 2 times this week throughout the weekend. See if you find time to do these things and break them up. Don't do the doorway for a full hour. Don't do walking and using the leash for, 45 minutes. Do just like 15-minute intervals and then take a break, but make it fun. Reward him. Get yourself used to these skills of knowing what you look for or what to look for with him. So again, if you have any questions on these steps or kind of how to implement them, please let me know, but just refer to this video and kind of rinse and repeat, as you would say, to help him make some progress.